Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. When I was on Facebook this morning, I saw this beautiful watercolor card that was done by Birgit, and it's just a lot of cards for Penny Black, which is a stamp company. But I loved the layout of this. It's watercolor paper, and then she watercolored just the center and then added these strips here. And I just like the way that it looks white on white. But then I thought, well, could we just do something different over pattern papers and make it like layers? And so, you kind of save on paper that way, but it's really pretty. So I came up with 3 different designs playing around with it. This one, I used the Playing in the Rain and needed sort of a pick-me-up kind of a card. And you can see I did designer paper back here, and then I overlaid with the white strips. And did that. And then another one that I did was a Christmas. So I added little 1-inch pieces of designer paper around the edges and then added just this little square in the middle and decorated that up. And I like how that one turned out. And that actually reminded me of a project I did a few years ago. I had to go back and look. The framed strip card where you take 1-inch designer paper pieces and you just add them like this all the way around and then add something in the center. So it's sort of a reverse of that because these are 1-inch pieces and you're leaving the relief of the cardstock color. This one, you're just adding it on top of white cardstock and then adding these crisscross pieces. Sort of like tic-tac-toe sort of. So I did that one. And the first one that I did was this one. And I keep forgetting to order the Daisy bundle, but this is my good old standby, my Sending Smiles bundle, which it's like one of my go-to sets. I love it. So I'm gonna show you how to do this one, but we're gonna turn it in this orientation and see what that looks like. So this paper is really pretty. And what's great about this layout is that you could literally just use the back sides of paper. So for instance, this paper, this is the One Horse Open Sleigh paper, which has all these really great designs on the back side too. So if you don't like the front, you can always look at some of your tone-on-tone patterns that I did. Or you could literally just take a piece out like we're going to and then use the strips of this back here, or even on the other side. It's really versatile and it saves on paper ultimately. So I'm starting with just a nice thick white A2 size card. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this piece I cut out of that designer paper. So I've got my center piece, which I'm going to do it this way and see how it looks. This is 2 1/2 by 4. And then I have these 3/4 inch by 12 pieces I cut from that designer paper. And then of course I have my strips of white, but I also cut the back side of that in that pretty copper color, that rusty copper color, to see how that might look. So what I like to do, if you have grid paper, that works good, but if you just start along the top of your card, and as long as your pieces of paper are straight, this is 3/4 inch, get it as close to the top. We're gonna cover the whole card like that, and then trim off. I just find it's easier. I swear there's nothing worse when you're making a card and you pre-cut your strips and it's a tiny bit short, then you gotta go cut the card. So I just like to do it this way. And because we're going to be putting those strips here, you're not gonna see the seams. And you know how I don't like seams. And I probably should have tried it in that color. That might have been pretty around the edges. I don't know, that's okay. We'll do it this way. All right, 3/4 inch strips. And just come across here. I'll cover everything well. And you can cover this completely. Like I said, we're gonna cover those up. So if it bothers you that there's a little bit of a lip there, you could cut those across that way, make a little indentation. You could, I hate measuring, so we're just gonna wing it. But as long as your edges are good, we can cover up the rest of it. I kind of like the way that there's no lip there, so I'm gonna do that again. Kind of across here, I'm just gonna run it across with my nail because I can feel that little lip there. that worked out all right. All right, don't worry if it's a little wonky. We're gonna clean it up. Right, this will go right into the center. All right, now, and my little piece of paper, I'm widening it up just a little bit. It's 2 3/4 by 4. Now this could be the panel that you stamp and you do something different on. I'm just using the designer paper because it's already there and it's already printed and it's pretty. Okay, now we decorate. This is where I find the grid paper to be really helpful, down in the corner here. Now let's see what it looks like. We could do that, which might look kind of cool, across the seams, or we could stick with the white and make it clean and simple. Let me see. I think I like the white. I know this is a little bit more contrasty, but my sentiment is also that color, so we're gonna go with the white. Now, if you have one of these silicone mats, these are fantastic. This one's actually cut in half. When I used to do a lot of classes, I cut them in half so everybody had one at their station. So they're double this size, but I have a bunch of these left over. And the silicone mats, of course, when you add your glue, it doesn't stick to your placemat, so everything just stays nice and clean. So on the grid paper, it's kind of helpful because you can you're gonna line it up with this seam anyway, and you can choose, do you want to go right above it or do you want to go right below it? I'm going to go right above that seam, and you can sort of follow your line across, and I think that helps a little bit. And then just trim off your excess. I like using extra on the white strips just so I can trim it off. Now this is where I would say either do these two the same and then overlay those. So instead, just don't go across this way and that way. Otherwise, unless you like that woven look, but I'm gonna go the top and the bottom first. And there's really not much paper with this, which is great. All right, coming back to my grid paper here. I like to line it up in the corner. And then you really have a really good line across. And the goal is to have the same width on all the 4 sides, if possible. On one of my cards, it didn't work out that way. This one, this one, something happened. I don't know what, but I got a little off track. But unless you're really looking for it, you might not notice it right away. I'm hoping the recipient doesn't notice it. All right, now for the up and down. Again, in the corner and across. Now I'm choosing to line up that side as I go, but you don't have to. It's quicker if you let some hang over, so you're not trying to line it up perfectly, but then you've only got one thing to cut. Ooh, fits, just fits. Now imagine if you do this for the holidays, you could do silver foil or glitter paper or something like that as a frame. It should be kind of pretty. So it might be a fun way to add in a little glitz. And then I can add my sentiment like I did here, my sending. I can even put that here. And then maybe I might add, maybe right here, a love and big hugs, or sending birthday wishes. That would look good. And then this flower I actually embossed on blue paper and added that in there. And then added a few little embellishments there. So I think you should give it a try. It's kind of fun. And I like the idea of using foils for the holidays too. We got this one, and this one, and this one. I'll put the recipes down there for you for all 3 of these. And go give it a try. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.